Hey everyone, how are you guys doing? So I wanted to do a video just to unpack some things a little bit and just to share my heart, especially leading up to Labor of Love this week, our first event. I just felt as though it was important for me to just share certain things and just to be open and vulnerable, with you guys. As much as sometimes people would say, oh, you're putting your business out there, you should stop doing that, that's not good, and these things, and to an extent sometimes that is true, but I also know that there are a lot of people that come to me in private with a lot of the things that I have been through, and oftentimes it's because of little things that I would share, not even sharing full stories, full context. They would come to me and they'll say, I want to talk about this, or how did you do this, or how can I do that, and it's because I've shared little pieces of my story openly. There are so many people that are struggling with doing that, quote unquote, suffering in silence, women that feel like there's nobody that understands what they're going through, there's nobody that they could talk to, that they go to people and they're still not heard, people are listening to them but still not hearing them. And I just feel like if God has given me the task to be that voice, to share my story openly to help someone else, then hey, I'll take the licks for it, even if it means not being liked by some people for it. So, Labor of Love, the first event, is coming up this Wednesday, and one of the reasons why I felt it's important to just kind of come and talk a little bit is because I wanted to share some of the things that I have been through in my life and how God has helped me through it, and other women have helped me through it, and why I even wanted to start to do these events in the first place. So yeah, you would hear me say that it started as a vision, it started as all of that, and yes, that is true, but a major part of it came from a place of me feeling like I had nobody, that I was surrounded by people who would hear the things that I was going through, but there would be no real addressing of the situation, again, because it was such a sensitive topic, mainly being a Christian woman. A lot of it was so sensitive that people kind of didn't want to touch certain issues. Also, I think in a lot of people's defense is that nobody wanted the blood on their hands. And I know I'm talking a lot of code, but I'll be clear and pretty transparent and say that I was in a very abusive relationship, very physically abusive, verbally abusive, emotionally abusive for many years, and there was a lot of adultery as well for many years, but I stayed because one, it was all that I knew. I was with this individual since I was 17 years of age. Two, I believed that we had purpose together, and I still don't ever want to say that we didn't, because we did a lot of things together. We gave birth to 2 children, and I believe that we did for a time. But I also stayed because people would tell me to stay when I went to them with the situation, and whenever I would bring up leaving to the table, there was a sense of judgment and negative association with leaving. So you'll find that if I brought up the topic divorce, or if I brought up that I can't do this anymore, I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, I feel like I can't go anymore, I would be told things like, you don't have enough faith, or you are giving up too easily, or you're giving up on your purpose, or you will destroy your children, and all these things that sometimes could have been true, but instead of addressing the issue, my ability to handle it was attacked versus the fact that what you're going through is not right. And eventually I realized that my situation and many others were not being addressed because sometimes people just didn't know how to handle it. There were a lot of people who were being abused, a lot of women and men, but a lot of women being abused because they grew up seeing it, and the abuser grew up seeing it, so they felt like it was normal. You know, we could go through this, we could pray about it, we could get some counseling, friends could come over, we could pray, this, that, whatever, and then it would go away. But then 6 months later it comes back, and when it comes back we hear terms like, oh, it's a cycle, or it's a spirit, or things like that, but nobody was really addressing the real issue, like maybe this is something serious that, you know, requires something else. And because I wasn't getting I don't want to use the term an ear, because it's like you're not really looking for people to just listen, because I felt like I wasn't being seen. I said, of course there must be other women going through this as well who also feel like they're not being seen in certain situations. And that's really kind of was my drive to start to do these events, because I knew that I couldn't be crazy, that these women who were in my inbox all the time coming to me and saying, you know, Akina, I know what you're going through, I saw what you went through, look, you're so strong, this and that. And I would often say to them, like, I don't feel strong, I feel like daily, like it's a battle for me to get up. Daily is like, I don't know how to, like, I feel like I'm losing my mind. Like, I felt like there were many times where I attempted suicide, where you know, I reached a point where sometimes I would check to see, you know, like just, you know, crazy stuff where you would my insurance policy cover suicide? Would my children be okay if I'm no longer here? Like all these things, because I felt like there's nobody seeing what's happening. And I realized that I couldn't be the only woman in this world that felt hopeless, that felt like nobody understands what I'm going through. And I'm not saying that I'm the only person, the only woman in Trinidad and Tobago that have taken on this mandate to do these things for women. I'm sure there are many awesome organizations, but I'm just sharing my story as it pertains to what motivated me to do Labor of Love, and what really motivated me to kind of start speaking up, you know, and things like that. It has not been easy, because it has cost me a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of relationships. It has cost me a lot of I'll say ridicule, because I think for a long while in my situation we put on this show that things were always perfect, and there were times when things were seemingly perfect, it was good, you know, but there were also times when the good could have never measured up to the bad, you know. And as my children started to get older, I started to think about when they become one of these women in the future who feel unheard. I can't be there listening to everybody else and telling women, you know, you should do this, you should do that, whatever, but I'm not thinking about the two women that I'm supposed to be discipling the most, which is my daughters, and what example am I setting for them. And that's really when I made the decision that okay, I couldn't do this anymore. And there were a lot of other things that added up to the decision, but I don't want to make this video about making someone else look bad, and I hope that's not what anybody takes away from this, that I'm trying to put things out there to make anybody look bad, or, you know, I'm not trying to do that. like I said in the very beginning, I know how many women come to me on a daily basis. I can't speak for anybody else. I know how many women come to me in my inbox on the phone and call me and say, Akina, you know, like, I feel like I am losing my mind. How could he do this to me? And in the past, I would have advised women, you know, stay and, you know, pray about it and, you know, this and that, or do these things. But now I just tell them to just do what's best for you. And labor of love, for me, my hope is that when women come to these events, like, they leave feeling so refreshed, so recharged, so full of, I could just go again, that they leave knowing that if I go home and I have to face this situation again and I decide to stay, that it's not going to be that I'm staying because I feel as though I can't leave, that they'll be staying because they say, okay, we're gonna fight, we're gonna make this work again. But if they go home and they say that I can't do this anymore, that they have the strength to be able to do that. Because a lot of times women stay because leaving is too hard. Because leaving will cost you judgment, because leaving will cost you shame, because leaving you wouldn't have the money, how would you move around, how would you do these things? But sometimes they need to see another woman do it to be able to say, hey, no, I could do it too. And it doesn't mean that it would be easy. And again, this video is not to talk about, you know, leaving a relationship. It's really to talk about the heart of the events, you know, which is really just to lift women up. I know that there are a lot of men that go through stuff also. I'm not saying no, but I also know that there is an unfair balance in the expectations put on women to handle certain things that they were not physically, emotionally, spiritually designed to carry. And I also recognize that sometimes people won't speak out against it because nobody wants the blood on their hands to say that I caused a family to break up, or I caused this person to leave their job, or I caused this person to, you know, to leave the country, or I caused this person to whatever. Like, people don't want to tell people what to do because they don't want to have to pay the price for that person's decision. But sometimes we have to give people advice based on the advice that we would tell ourselves and the advice that we would tell our daughters as women. And I share that because I don't ever want Labor of Love to become an event where women come and they just dress up and they look fancy and they eat and they take pictures and they post it on Instagram, and then they never really go home and make any changes to their lives, you know, or they don't feel any change, or they don't feel any true change when they come there. You know, I want it to be that they say, no, this cannot be my life. God, this is not what you promised me, and that they find the solutions, the group of people that could help them do it, and just, like I said, just to be recharged to go again. And going back to what I said, I know that there are a lot of great organizations, a lot of great churches, a lot of great social groups that do provide similar resources like that, and I am probably just another small drop in the barrel, but that's okay. That's okay, because the more people that take on this mission towards helping women become more, or to see that they deserve more, is the more that we could bring change to just not just Trinidad and Tobago, but to the world. You know, I didn't always think that I deserved better. I felt as though what I was in was just good enough, because again, it was all I knew. But sometimes it's important for us to see people in a position of where we would like to be in order for us to say, okay, hey, if she could do this thing, then I could do it too. If she could survive miscarriage or stillbirth and be alive still, then, and not lose her mind and still be going, if she could survive the loss of her spouse, if she could survive cancer, if she could survive the death of a child, if she could survive losing all this, if she could survive getting a skin condition and, you know, not lose her identity, if she could survive that, then I could survive this too. You know, so I hope that every woman that comes to these events feels that, and not just the event, but I also want to share that within the next 2 weeks, my book would be available for purchase. It's also called Labor of Love, A Woman's Journey from Pain to Purpose. I'll be sharing more about it in the coming weeks. I'm very excited, very nervous, very intimidated. I'm not going to lie about, you know, what people will think or what, yeah. But like I said, if I have to be the voice or the poster child for these things, or for some of these things, or one of the women that is the voice, I'll do it, you know, because before anything, know that I have 2 daughters that have to grow up in this world, and I don't want my daughters to go through some of the things that I went through because I didn't have another woman in front of her face or around her to help set her free, you know. And I also know the power that comes with having women in your life that could help you get to that place. I've had some amazing people in my life that would have helped me. I've had amazing people who would have not helped me but helped me by not helping me. And I've had people who have just showed me the power in, the Bible talks about, you know, when 2 or 3 comes together. I don't think that only means in prayer. I think it means in supporting you. People need support. They need to know that, you know, they're seen, that they're heard, that they're valued. And that's how I want women to feel when they read my story, and I want them to feel courage, you know, as well. So I'll be sharing more about that within the next couple of weeks. But I just look forward to seeing you guys at these events, and I really pray that not just my story inspires you, but that you feel challenged and comfortable to share yours too. I never thought that I would be at the place that I am at now, and it has not been easy. It still is not easy, but I recognize that that's the process from pain to purpose, and that's what labor of love is. There are things sometimes you go through because you love people, because you love things, because you do love yourself, and it's work, it's hard work, it's the laborious process. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys on the 30th, and to hearing your stories as well too. And not only that, but just for you guys to just not just read my story, like I said, but just want to be a part of this movement, and of just breaking generational curses through not just prayer and fasting, but by the decisions that we make to step out and do something about it. So yeah, I hope I made sense in this little video. I just felt it on my heart to come on and talk a little bit, and to just be real and vulnerable and transparent as I could be, while still being respectful of, you know, other parties. So I love you guys so much, and thank you all for the support. I pray that, you know, this would reach the right person, and it would be received the right way, and that you know, that the enemy would never make us feel unworthy or unvalued about the things that God has placed on the inside of us, and the things that God has allowed us to go through. So take care. God bless you. Have a great day.